What if I told you that there's a way for you to create the first draft of your book in less than 1 hour so you can publish it on Amazon KDP? Now, I know this sounds a bit crazy, but hear me out. Technology is advancing at great leaps, and you're not going to want to miss what I'm going to share with you inside of this video. And at the end of this video, you will know the exact process I used to create the first draft of my own books. And you will be able to replicate it even if you have no writing skills or no previous Amazon KDP skills whatsoever. Anyways, let's pretend our keyword here is shadow work workbook. I'm not going to do any niche or keyword validation in this video because it's more about creating the book with AI. However, you will want to validate a keyword or validate your topic before getting into this. All right, so the first thing we're going to do is go on ChatGPT, and we want to identify the buyer persona of our book. So I'm using this short prompt, identify the problem-aware buyer persona for the Amazon KDP book titled, I'm going to call it Shadow Work Workbook for Women, based on breakthrough advertising terminology by Eugene Schwartz. Very short and simple. But the answer is a bit off. Here it's telling me that they know they need help, yet they may not know exactly what shadow work is or how it can address their issues, right? So I'm gonna tell it that the buyer persona actually knows what shadow work is. Now, why do I do this? Is because if someone is looking up shadow work workbook or anything related to shadow work, it's usually because they've already heard about it on social media or they've been reading books about it previously. And if you read through the problem-aware buyer persona that ChatGPT is giving you, it makes more sense. For instance, she has come across the concept of shadow work through online forums, social media. However, she's not sure if it's actually the right approach or the only approach. She's looking for solutions, right? She follows mental health influencers and spiritual mentors who occasionally mention shadow work. Why is she still problem aware? Because in Eugene Schwartz's framework, Ebony is beyond the stage of being unaware. She knows she has a serious problem, and she's also aware that shadow work could be a potential solution. She isn't ignorant of it. However, she isn't fully convinced of how to execute shadow work or whether this particular workbook is the best means to solve her problem. She hasn't zeroed in on the product as her definite solution. All right, so this is more or less what we want. Now let's go a bit more into her problems. I'm gonna ask ChatGPT to list the problems that she has as pain points. So here we have pain point number 1, recurring emotional triggers. Pain point number 2, negative self-talk. Pain point number 3, patterns of self-sabotage, lack of guidance of how to do shadow work, fear of confronting past trauma, feeling overwhelmed by woo-woo or esoteric language, etc., and much more. Okay, so now that we understand our buyer persona a little bit more, we're now going to look at what the competition has and how our buyer persona is reacting to their books to see if we can make something better. So something you can do is just simply type in your keyword, and you're gonna wanna open up maybe 2 to 3 results from the competition. Also, it's very important here to note that shadow work is actually a trademark keyword, at least Shadow Work Journal is. So that's why I'm using it as an example so you can get more or less an idea of how to do this, but I wouldn't replicate this myself. All right, so we've opened up a few results here. And if you have your Helium Chrome extension, you can actually click on Analyze Reviews, and then you can export table so you can get an idea of what the reviews are saying. And the same thing for the other 3 books as well. Now, if you don't have Helium 10, you can simply copy and paste every single review. Or the second option, you can go here inside of Dibbly Create, which is a platform for ghostwriting with AI, and you can click on KIP. Now, in KIP, you will find the little button called Research that if you click and then click on Search Term Batch Analysis, you can have AI do all the research for you. Let me show you. All that I'm going to do is type in the search term that I want, the number of books that I want to analyze. I'm going to analyze 3 books, and the custom search queries, which is what's the market gap, how can my book be better than this one, and what kind of content should my book have to naturally gain positive reviews from the audience. Then we'll click on search and we'll just wait a few minutes. Now, once you have the reviews or the results from KIP, we're going to take this prompt, we're going to copy it on ChatGPT, and then we're going to just make a few spaces and copy and paste the reviews or the analysis. Both of them work. Now let me just show you real fast the results from KIP. We have here the book along with very nice details that are good, like the strength, summary of reviews, strength, weaknesses, proficiency and readability, writing style, themes, engagement, reviewer suggestions, topics and themes, keyword analysis, long tail keyword, competitive edges, the market gap, how can my book be better than this one, and what kind of content my book should have. This is really good, so I'm just going to copy this and paste it here underneath the prompt. And what I have as a result is basically a report on what opportunities exist in the market today for a book that, if it were to be published, would probably be better than all the ones that are already live on the Amazon marketplace. Basically providing depth while remaining accessible, offering structured guidance with community and top-tier design and readability. Result, a genuinely transformational experience that naturally yields positive reviews, word-of-mouth recommendations, and enduring relevance in the self-help shadow work space. That's pretty cool. Okay, now we're gonna take this three things: buyer persona, pain points, and competitor analysis, to create a short description of what this book is about. Just simply gonna paste this prompt here based on buyer persona, pain points, and research, create a short but concise one paragraph description of what the book I'm writing is about. Here we have it. I think it's a pretty nice description, and we're gonna use this to create the outline. Now to go to the outline, we're gonna go back to Cape, which is inside of Dibbly Create. Now for this, Cape has a cost. I think it costs about $20 a month or so. I think it is very worth it if you are planning to do books. You can also use ChatGPT for this, and you would simply ask it at this point, hey, just give me an outline for a book based on all the information I gave you. But because I want to give you better information, we're going to use Kip. So we go back to Kip and we're going to create an outline, and then we're going to segment women, nonfiction. We want maybe just 5 chapters. Is 5 chapters good? I think so, right? How many words? Let's do 10,000. We just want to make this more of a didactic experience so you guys can learn something. So I don't want to make it too complicated. We're going to type in here the book title, which I actually don't have a subtitle for. Let's actually create one right now. Okay, and this is the prompt. You are now a KDP book title creation coach. Based on our research, also create a high converting subtitle for this book. Give me multiple ideas, and I'm just leaving here like a little structure of what it should follow. All right, so it gives me a few options. I tell it to give me the highest conversion one. So we have it here, and that's gonna be our subtitle. So now we're gonna take the short description that we created, and we're gonna go back here to the outline creator and just paste it here alongside our full title, genre, main topic, which is shadow work, alongside the number of chapters and the number of words inside of this book. Then we'll click on generate and wait a few minutes. Boom. So we have the entire outline. We're just gonna copy and paste it into our document, and let's quickly go through it, right? So we have the objectives of the manuscript. What is the manuscript about? What are the reader takeaways? What do you want answered? The target audience, why the audience will read the book, what is the tone and style ideal for this audience as well, the competition analysis, introduction, and the points covered inside of the introduction. We have here chapter 1, discovering shadow work, everything inside of chapter 1, exactly how it should be developed. Chapter 2, identifying your shadow. Chapter 3, healing past wounds. Chapter 4, fostering self-love. And finally, transforming relationships. Chapter 5, and well, a conclusion, right? I think this looks pretty solid. I'm gonna save this. I'm gonna call it here outline shadow work workbook. All right, we've finished the outline. We still have yet to create the actual book though. However, I think that creating the outline is actually the biggest step, or it's probably the hardest one. The next steps that follow are actually very simple. Let me show you. Now, normally most tutorials regarding this topic of AI book writing will tell you to just copy and paste the outline to ChatGPT and have ChatGPT write out the book for you. Kind of like this. You are now an expert writer on shadow work, write the book introduction and just copy and paste, well, the section for introduction inside of your outline. And well, that's not bad. You know, as you can see, you can probably get a good introduction from ChatGPT. And then after that, you would do the same thing for every single chapter inside of the book. However, unfortunately, ChatGPT will become repetitive at one point, and many of the writing patterns that it uses are similar and will be easily identifiable in a regular manuscript. Thus, what I recommend is going back to Kip, and we're gonna go and click on content writer. Now in this case, we're gonna select chapter and we're gonna click on nonfiction, introduction, and now we're gonna type in our chapter outline. Now I just copy and pasted the chapter outline. I would normally include research, but because this is an introduction chapter, I'm not able to. And we're gonna select the tone here. In my case, I like to use instructive and a writing style that's a bit more narrative, right? And the target audience, well, it's a target audience we've been talking to always, and we can actually get this from the outline that was previously created with Kip. Now we'll click on generate. All right, so here we have the introduction. I had to change the tone to conversational because I didn't like the instructive tone so much. Now what we're gonna do is just copy this and paste it into our introduction file here. And what we're gonna do next is simply have ChatGPT go through this chapter and make it better. And the prompt will go something like this. You're now a high-level KDP book editor for books in the niche of shadow work. Read through chapter 1 of my book. make suggestions to the text to have it published ready. Now it's actually got the introduction, so let me change that and let's do it. So we get some really nice suggestions, right? Like you've already used weight of the past many times, or maybe too many transitional phrases. There's inconsistency in tone. This book guides you use active voice, not passive voice, etc. Right? And we even get a section of the suggestions already incorporated. So let me just take this and we'll copy it into our introduction. All right, perfect. We can go then to chapter 1. Now the process here is a bit similar. We go to chapter 1 on the outline, we copy it, and we go back to content writer. And this time we're going to click on a normal chapter. We may want anywhere between 2,200 to 3,000 words. Now we'll just copy and paste the chapter outline. We'll maintain the same tone, a conversational tone and a narrative writing, and the target audience remains the same, right? So we'll generate that. Okay, and now we have chapter 1. We're gonna copy this chapter, go back to ChatGPT, and we're gonna do the same process. Okay, so here we are. You're a high-level KDP book editor in the niche of shadow work. Read through chapter 1, make suggestions to have the text published ready. All right, so we have the edited version. We just copy this and we'll paste it into our document here, chapter 1. Now here I'm gonna go a bit fast, but I'm gonna do this for the rest of the chapters, okay? Okay, so now we have the rough draft. And honestly, it looks good, but it's nothing impressive. And this is where the next step in the process comes in, which is manuscript optimization and humanization. What does this mean? In a way, we've already created the foundation of the whole manuscript for this book, but we can continue to prompt each chapter individually in order to improve it. Let me show you how. We're going to use this prompt here. Considering the outline objectives for this book, and here we can copy and paste the outline, how can chapter 1, 2, or 3, whatever, be improved? Make a list of concise suggestions that can substantially improve the chapter in order to reach outline objectives. Okay, so I just copied and pasted the outline context and also the outline corresponding to chapter 1. Now here I have, how can chapter 1 be improved? Make a list of concise suggestions that can substantially improve it in order to reach outline objectives. And I'm just going to copy and paste chapter 1 here. Okay, and now we get a list. Reinforce definition of shadow work. Highlight the role in personal growth. Address common misconceptions more directly. Use heading or mini list. Emphasize the positive. Strengthen why it's important. Incorporate short actionable prompt or exercise. Right? Offer a preview of upcoming content. Maintain supportive yet informative tone. Right? I love all of this. However, I want to emphasize a few based on my own preferences. So I'm going to take this here, I'm going to edit them. So for instance, I want more than just one actionable prompt or exercise, more than one ideally. Now this here, offer a preview of upcoming content. I'd rather not do that because I don't want ChatGPT to hallucinate or to make things up, right? And we can maintain the tone and everything. Okay, so I like that. And now I'm crafting my own prompt based on this. So apply suggestions to chapter 1, then explain where you apply them. Suggestions and the list of suggestions, and then I'm going to draw a line here and then click on and type in chapter 1 and just copy and paste my chapter 1. And I'm loving it so far. I mean, already it's incorporated exercises here, another exercise here, reflection prompt, addressing common misconceptions, another exercise and final thoughts, and then where each suggestion was applied, right? The elevator pitch and the introduction, concrete examples, tangible outcomes, before and after, mini list, tie back to women-specific challenges, etc., right? So I like this much more than the original. I'm going to take this and I'm going to paste it onto chapter 1. We're going to replace, essentially we're going to replace chapter 1 that was here previously, that wasn't really at all impressive, and we're going to paste our new chapter 1, which is this. Let me format it adequately. Chapter 1. Oh, I forgot this section here. Okay, let me just put that in as well. There we go. So I actually prefer this a lot more than the previous one, right? So we have here chapter 1, definition, importance, quick exercise, how shadow work helps personal growth, before and after, releasing pent-up emotions, reflection prompt. I think this is really, really cool that we've added reflection prompts as well already into chapter 1. Addressing common misconceptions and embracing reality. We have myth, reality, and another exercise, which is great. And final thoughts, right? So this looks like a much better version of chapter 1. And this looks really nice. So I'm gonna stick with this. Now, what I can do also is have ChatGPT expand on it, etc. But I'm already getting basically what the structure should look like, considering it's also a workbook. Basically, the next part will be to continue this process, doing this for every single chapter, and that's it. So let's do this optimization one more time. We're gonna take this text here, copy and paste it. We're gonna copy and paste the outline, chapter summary, and then we're gonna do this for chapter 2, right? How can chapter 2 be improved? Make a list of concise suggestions to reach outline objectives. Chapter 2. And here we can just put in our chapter 2, which is really boring and really bad. So now that we have the suggestions, we're going to copy the suggestions, and we're just going, well, actually, we're going to copy this first. Apply these suggestions to chapter 2, right? Then explain where you applied them. Here we have the suggestions, and here we have chapter 2. And I think that with this, you more or less are understanding the procedure that comes after generating the rough draft, which is manuscript optimization. After you've done this with the entire manuscript, then comes the last part, which is humanization. You want to actually read out loud the whole text. Make sure it has consistency. Make sure you do your research, and also research the sources that sometimes ChatGPT, or in this case Dibbly, may connect to your writing. And with that, you would have pretty much a finished manuscript. All right, going back to this, we're going to replace our chapter 2 with this better, sexier looking chapter 2. I think this is much better. And it just makes much more sense, right? This chapter begins by spotting subconscious patterns, keep a reaction log, use journaling as a mirror, recognize behavioral cycles, mini exercise, reflect on a pattern, etc. And it just builds on that, right? And that's really it, guys. Writing a whole book does not have to be that complicated. With the tools that we have nowadays, we can create an entire book in less than an hour. Perhaps optimizing and then humanizing the book can take a few more hours, but it's still light years ahead and hundreds of times faster than what it was just 2 or 3 years back. I want you to reflect on this and think about the opportunities that exist today in the book publishing world, where you can create a masterpiece, really, by getting some help from AI and then improving it on your own. Now, let me be completely frank with you. Would I leave the manuscript as it is, right as it is, in this very moment? Well, no. What I would actually do, if this was a book that I would publish, is that I would improve it as much as I could through prompting, and I would still hire someone else to humanize the book and to make sure that all the references that are cited inside of it are actually true. This is an extra step in the process that I think is well worth your time and money spent on that. However, if you do like editing the book yourself and looking up sources isn't a big deal for you, then you could also do it on your own. It's just amazing at the things that we can do online today. I hope you really enjoyed this video. Now, this process that I have is not a finished process. I think it can be improved much more. If I had more time, I could actually add in higher level prompts that I do use in the regular basis and additional steps and procedures. However, I do want to make it as concise and as practical of a tutorial that I possibly can, right? So guys, let me know, what procedure do you use to create your own books? And how can you apply what you saw in this video to make your books even better? I'm dying to read you in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you like it, subscribe, and click on the thumbs up button. That will really help out this channel. If you want to learn more about Amazon KDP, you can always go to my Facebook group where we talk about Amazon ads, or you can check out this next video. See you there.